Hello, it's David with Ag Economic Insights. This is the third video and final video that we wanted to share as part of your AEI Premium trial. As a recap, the first video we talked about the exclusive content you're going to have access to. In the second video, we introduced the Ag Forecast Network tool, the AFN tool. And in the third video here, I want to talk about that feedback loop that we're going to provide for you, that really important process of getting improving our thinking and cultivating our thinking and how we can make improvements along the way. So the first thing I want to point out is that down here on getting the most out of the Ag Forecast Network, you can click here to read a whole lot more about the Ag Forecast Network tools, including how we score information, how we provide the consensus. A lot of details are provided in here. So you should read this if you really want to get into the fine nuts and bolts of the details. Today, I'm just going to hit the highlights. So the first place that we're going to provide you feedback to and feedback with as you're a part of this Ag Forecast Network tool process is on the Ag Forecast Network tool page. As I mentioned earlier, you can take one of these questions and you can expand it. And the first way you're going to get feedback is seeing the feedback that you leave yourself. So by graphing your past forecasts, we can review and consider how our thinking has changed. So back in late January, early February, when we first signed that phase one trade deal, I was pretty optimistic that China was going to purchases of ag exports were going to exceed 35 billion in 2020. I had a 50-50 chance of that happening. Since then, in light of COVID and all the other things going on in the world, I have significantly adjusted my forecast. So that's part one. You can see how your thinking has changed and evolved over time. We call these updating of forecasts recalibrating. As the information and data available changes, so should our thinking and so should our expectations. And that recalibrating is what we capture here. The second point is leaving a note. So you can leave a note here for yourself. So if you leave a note in the comment section here, you submit success, then you can hover over those data points and you can see what that note left. And so back in the early part of June, I said I thought there's a 7% chance based on the trade data through April. Now, if something comes out and later on I dramatically change my expectations, I can look back and say, hey, David, why did you think that back in June? Our minds have a funny way of rewriting history or writing over history, and it's easy to forget what we were specifically thinking about at a given point in time. So that's feedback part number two. The third piece of feedback we give you here on live open questions is the consensus. You toggle that over and we can share how your expectations line up with the average of all the other forecast network users. So you can give a good benchmark as to how your expectations may or may not line up. So once a question gets resolved, the next level of feedback that we can provide you with is how your forecast did over the entirety of the forecast period relative to all the other users. So again, these questions are designed so the event either does happen or it doesn't happen. Every question gets resolved. And when they get resolved, either because of the event occurring or because of the time running out, we score them. And so if you click here on the Ag Forecast Network scores, and again, you have to be in here long enough to have a question get resolved, you can review these past questions. And so let's take a look at a question that I was thinking about here, the probability of USMCA being ratified by US Congress before July 1, 2020. That seems like an eternity ago, but it was something that we were thinking about a lot here at the end of 2019 and early 2020. And in bold, we tell you, okay, here are the details. On January the 16th, the Senate passed the resolution, and the House of Representatives passed this bill back in December 19th, 2019. And so after it went to the House, it went to the Senate, and it has been resolved, and the result was a yes outcome. And my participation, I participated 100% in the entire question length. And this is important for questions that we might have jumped in at the last minute or in the middle. It gives us an idea of how long we are part of this question relative to everyone else. Again, You can again turn this consensus on and you can see your past forecast. So that's still all a part of that. So the other thing is the percentile rank. Percentile rank is after we score everyone, and you can read the details about how that scoring process is done, we line everyone up from the highest score to the lowest score. And those with the best score get the best score. Those individuals with the best score get a 100% a percentile rank of 100%, and those with the worst get a 0. And so in this case, a 91 percentile rank tells me that my forecast is better than 91% of all the other users. That was a pretty good forecast. I don't always get that accurate. So here's another one, the probability of December corn falling below 350 per bushel before August 1. That occurred on April the 1st, and my percentile rank was 65%. So again, to recap this part, every one of the questions in the Forecast Network tool gets resolved. And because of the question design, we have a lot of feedback that can take place. We can show how your thinking has evolved over time. We can tell you what your thinking was based on the notes that you leave yourself, and we can give you a benchmark as to how your expectations line up to everyone else. Then once the question is resolved, either it times out or the event takes place, we can score the forecast and we can give you a ranking of how your expectations over the life of your forecast compared to others who were participating during that time as well. Finally, before you check off, I want to share another piece of feedback that's really important to Brent and I is this contact form. You can use this to reach out to us. You can drop your email address in and a message comes directly to us. You can tell us about comments or suggestions or feedback. If there's a topic you would like to see us cover or data you want to see us include or a forecast network question, feel free to reach out. This is the quickest and easiest way for you to provide feedback back to us. So we appreciate that so much. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you for being a part of the AEI Premium trial. And we look forward to continuing the conversation. Catch you next time. Thanks.